Britain celebrates royal birth of baby boy. The CE defends Paul Chan over land controversy, and Pope Francis on a visit to Brazil.
Good evening. It's a boy. Non-stop celebrations are taking place throughout Britain today after Prince William's wife, Kate, gave birth to a baby boy who is now third in line to the throne. Now, much like all royal events, news of the baby's birth was carefully carried out in the finest of pomp and ceremony. The arrival of the royal baby was marked by the arrival of an official courier at St. Mary's Hospital, much to the delight of local and international media camped outside. Transported by car, message of the baby's arrival was carefully hand-carried to Buckingham Palace. Moments later, the official announcement of the baby's birth was posted outside the palace grounds and on the same easel that announced Prince William's birth. Alas, the birth announcement stated the boy was born at 4:24 in the afternoon and weighed in at 8 pounds 6 ounces. The announcement also stated William was present for the birth and that Her Royal Highness and her child are both doing well. As tradition would have it, outside the hospital, the town crier did his part.
Ho-yay, ho-yay, ho-yay! Got a prince here today! God save the Queen!
News of the birth sent a delighted Queen Elizabeth rushing from her castle in Windsor to Buckingham Palace. Now a grandfather for the first time, Prince Philip said he is overjoyed with the news. Equally excited was Britain's Prime Minister.
It is an important moment in the life of our nation, but I suppose above all it's a wonderful moment for a warm and loving couple who got a brand new baby boy.
Messages of congratulations began pouring in from around the world, including the White House.
Like so many Americans, the President and First Lady and the entire First family wish the family and all of Great Britain well on this pending momentous occasion.
Crowds outside the hospital celebrated with pride. Even the British Telecom Tower couldn't wait to broadcast "It's a Boy" at the top of their structure. For now, the infant's name remains a royal mystery. Because Charles and Diana showed Prince William to the media after he was born, many are hoping for the same. Media from all over the world are still camped out, hoping to get that money shot, the first glimpse of Britain's future king.
In Hong Kong, Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying today defended his development chief after it emerged that Paul Chan's wife owned land in the Northeast New Territories. Chan's bureau is pushing ahead with plans to build new towns there. Some lawmakers have now complained to the Anti-Graft Agency about a potential conflict of interest. Diane To reports.
Yesterday, a villager in the area showed the media a rental payment receipt from the 1990s with Paul Chan's signature on it. Attending a conference in Tianjin, Chan was hounded by the media on whether he'd lied about the family buying the plot for leisure activities. Chan explained that he had only rented it out at the request of villagers there. He insisted it didn't contradict his previous statements, but claimed he doesn't remember the exact details because that happened a long time ago. He also said he very, very rarely visits the area and that the company owned by his wife's family handles the plot in Kutong. It was bought by Chan on behalf of his wife and her family's company in 1994. Now, all 3 plots there belonging to that firm are expected to be acquired by the government for redevelopment. Chan explained yesterday he declared these assets to the chief executive last September and that his wife sold all her shares in the family company last October. Speaking before the weekly Executive Council meeting, Leung Chun-ying insisted that his development minister has fully complied with the requirements of interest declaration. On calls to make the declaration system stricter, Leung said there's always room for improvement and that the government will look into it. EXCO member Regina Ip said former Chief Justice Andrew Lee looked into that last year in a review of the declaration mechanism.
He found that it is actually not feasible to require an official to declare spouses' separate interests or the interests of the family members of spouses, because in modern society, not everybody is fully privy to all the investments and financial interests of one's spouse.
Critics are not satisfied. The League of Social Democrats filed a complaint with the ICAC this morning. Lawmaker Leung Kwok-hung said Chan needs to be at least investigated for misconduct in public office. Members of People Power also reported Chan's case to the Anti-Graft Agency, while the Democratic Party filed a complaint with the ICAC and the Ombudsman. Diane To, TVB News.
A 13-year-old boy in Tin Soi Wai is suspected of having contracted Japanese encephalitis. If confirmed, he would be that district's third patient. As Joao Da Silva reports, Secretary for Food and Health Ko Wing-man has not ruled out the possibility of further cases.
The clinical features and the radiological imaging of the boy both show evidence of encephalitis.
Dr. Tsui said further tests will have to be conducted before they are able to confirm whether it is a case of Japanese encephalitis. Meanwhile, Secretary for Food and Health Ko Wing-man has said the two confirmed patients, also from the Tin Shui Wai district, are showing signs of recovery. But he warns that more cases could be detected during the rainy season.
I don't think we can, despite of all our efforts to control mosquitoes all over the territory, especially in the area around Tin Shui Wai. I don't think we can rule out the possibility of further sporadic cases of Japanese encephalitis occurring.
Meanwhile, local pharmacists have urged residents, and especially children, to avoid using mosquito repellent that contains DEET. DEET is an active ingredient commonly found in mosquito repellent that was originally developed as a pesticide. Its absorption through the skin or through the mouth may induce vomiting and even coma. João Da Silva, TVB News.
Last night, we reported on public housing proposals to be put forward for a consultation later this year by the Long-Term Housing Strategy Steering Committee. Tonight, we focus on the committee's private housing proposals. The committee believes young people should not be a priority group for government assistance. As Diane To reports, it is also not in favor of reintroducing the Home Starter loan scheme for first-time home buyers.
The younger generation has been complaining about high property prices, saying they're beyond their means. Sources say a consultation paper to be released by the Long-Term Housing Strategy Steering Committee says young people should not be the government's priority because they have better chances of upward mobility. Besides, the government strategy is to encourage the younger generation to live with senior members of the family. The committee also looked into whether the Home Starter loan scheme can help some of the young people buy their own flat. But in view of the current housing demand far exceeding supply, the committee believes any form of government assistance would only push up property prices. Since the loan scheme was introduced 15 years ago, there have been 1,200 cases of repayment failures. The borrowers have declared bankruptcy, leading to government losses of $490 million in terms of bad debts. The committee is not in favor of reintroducing the loan scheme for first-time homebuyers. The chairman of the housing think tank Landwatch said the government's current policy on land supply is inadequate in view of Hong Kong's housing problems. Lee Wing-tat said when Leung Chun-ying stood for the chief executive election, he talked about the problems young people face in terms of housing. But he's done nothing since then, and the reason is simple. The current land supply can't even solve the average family's problems. The Long-Term Housing Strategy Steering Committee estimates that to solve the housing problem, Hong Kong needs to develop a new town every 10 years. It also thinks that the ratio of public to private housing supply in the next decade should be 6:4, providing a total of 447,000 units. Diane To, TVB News.
Pope Francis got a boisterous, sometimes frenzied welcome on his arrival in Brazil on Monday. The pontiff is making his first overseas visit after 4 months on the job. Alan Booknia reports.
It's also the Argentine Pope's first trip back to his home continent since assuming the papacy. He was greeted at Rio de Janeiro's International Airport by Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff. The Pope's visit is part of the biennial World Youth Day gathering. As many as 1 million young people from around the world are expected in Rio for the Catholic Youth Fest. On the drive through the streets of Rio, the Pope found himself surrounded by adoring faithful after his driver made a wrong turn and ended up stuck in traffic. Thousands of local Catholics, visiting pilgrims, and the curious had lined the avenues to greet Francis. While it was a nightmarish scene for security officials, the Pope seemed to delight in the opportunity to connect with the people. Later, he got into an open-air papal car for another drive through the streets. But it wasn't the bulletproof Pope-mobile, which he left in the Vatican garage. He waved and touched those who reached out to him, and even kissed a baby that a woman handed to him. While Vatican officials insisted they had no concerns for the Pope's safety, they did acknowledge there might have been some errors that need correcting. The Pope is on a 7-day visit meant to fan the fervor of faithful around the world. It's a task that's grown more challenging as Catholics stray amid sexual and financial scandals that have roiled the Vatican in recent years. The Pope is scheduled to take Tuesday off for a day of rest and some private meetings. Alan Booknia, TVB News.
In New York, 10 people were injured when the landing gear of a jetliner collapsed while touching down at LaGuardia Airport. There were 150 people on board the Southwest Airlines Boeing 737 when its front landing gear buckled. Emergency vehicles surrounded the jet as passengers escaped through the emergency exits. LaGuardia, one of the area's busiest airports, was closed for more than an hour. No one was seriously hurt. It's the latest in a string of incidents for Boeing. The company has faced a rash of problems with its recently launched 787 Dreamliner plane.
Long suspected by nuclear experts, the Japanese government admitted the crippled Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant may be leaking contaminated water into the sea. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshihide Suga made the announcement at a news conference today in Tokyo. To allay fears, he said the government is scrambling to prevent the leakage. Tokyo Electric Power Company has been repeatedly blamed for overlooking early signs and covering up its nuclear leaks. TEPCO had persistently denied contaminated water breached the sea, despite spikes in radiation levels found in water and sea samples. The nuclear plant operator is currently injecting a chemical solution into the coastline embankment to block contaminated water from escaping. And still ahead in our newscast, almost 1 million visitors to this year's book fair. Hong Kong robotics team makes top 9 in international contests. And the blooming of the corpse flower in the U.S. Capitol.
Welcome back. This year's Hong Kong Book Fair due to a close late this afternoon. Exhibitors slashed prices on the last day of the event. The 7-day fair attracted about 1 million people. Vicky Kung has more details.
The last chance for bargains. A sea of customers flooded the book fair at the Convention and Exhibition Center looking for discounted items before the event closed at 5 p.m. today. The event organizer, Hong Kong Trade Development Council, said 980,000 people, 80,000 more than last year, visited the fair over the past week, voluntarily or not.
Our mothers told us to come and just say you're going to read books today. So.
But do you like reading?
Yeah.
The average expenditure per person at the fair was high at $790 this year.
I think today the prices may be cheaper.
Travel books, literature, and fiction topped the bestseller list. Apart from commercial publishers, foreign consulates also set up booths to sell or give out publications to promote their causes.
Yeah, so every few minutes we have some people who are interested and we just tell them about details about language courses or where they should visit in Spain in general for vacation.
And at the Turkish corner, many visitors gathered for free figs, freshly pressed and imported from Central Asia. There was also a demonstration of Turkish calligraphy works that can often be found on the walls and ceilings of mosques. Traditional Turkish calligraphy uses only black ink, but artist Aydin Çayır decided to spice up his work with a dash of red to feature the fusion of Chinese and Turkish culture in Hong Kong. And on this card here, it says, "See you next year." Vicky Kung, TVB News.
About 100 residents of an elderly home in Chuen Wan were evacuated because of a blaze downstairs. 10 of them were treated in hospital for smoke inhalation. A building on Tai Wo Hao Road was blanketed by smoke. A Chinese herbal tea shop on the ground floor caught fire at around 2 o'clock this afternoon. Firefighters rushed to the scene to fight the blaze. It affected those living in an elderly home in the building. 93 people were evacuated by firefighters who are still trying to determine what caused the blaze.
People taking the bus to Tuen Mun should be able to save time and money starting on Saturday. That's when a new KMB Transport interchange opens in Tai Lam. The new interchange is 2 stories high, with the lower level on Castle Peak Road and the upper level on Tuen Mun Road. There, passengers can find information about the different routes, as well as an electronic signboard forecasting bus arrivals. KMB says it has carefully planned out the routes to make it more efficient for commuters and expects the new system to help save them both time and money. All right, over to you for a look at today's sports.
Yeah, a little shopping season, I think, in football. Barcelona's reportedly told Manchester United Cesc Fabregas is not for sale, and that's despite a second and improved offer made by the Red Devils. Manchester United manager David Moyes said during his club's tour of Japan that he has stepped up the pursuit of the Spanish star and former gunner. The new offer is believed to be about £30 million plus add-ons. The first offer, worth £25 million, had already been rejected by Barcelona. Fabregas signed a 5-year deal with the Spanish Giants in 2011. And the Catalans have chosen Gerardo Martino as their new coach, replacing Tito Vilanova, who stepped down for health reasons. Martino led Argentine club Newell's Old Boys last season. He's from the city of Rosario, where Lionel Messi was born. Martino will travel from Argentina to Spain to sign a contract and be presented officially to the club. He's expected to sign a 2-year deal. Villanova was forced to step down last week. His treatment for throat cancer means he will be unable to perform his duties. Former National League Most Valuable Player and Milwaukee Brewers slugger Ryan Braun has been suspended for the rest of the season for violating Major League Baseball's drug policy. Alan Buchnia has more on that and highlights from yesterday's games.
Ryan Braun will not play in the regular season or the playoffs this year. Major League Baseball did not specify why he was suspended without pay. But the 2011 National League MVP, along with more than a dozen other players, have been linked to a doping scandal involving Biogenesis of America, a now defunct anti-aging clinic in Florida. In a statement, the Brewers outfielder said, "I am not perfect. I realize now that I have made some mistakes. I am willing to accept the consequences of those actions." Just last year, Braun avoided a 50-game ban when an arbitrator overturned his positive test for elevated testosterone because the urine sample had been improperly handled. In Texas, Japanese star Yu Darvish was in top form on his return from the disabled list. He allowed just 2 singles over 6 1/3 innings against the New York Yankees. The Rangers shut out the Yankees 3-0. And in interleague action in Toronto, another Asian pitcher also got the win. South Korea's Ryu Hoon-jin handcuffed the Blue Jays, while on offense, A.J. Ellis had 4 hits, including a home run for the Los Angeles Dodgers. The surging Dodgers rolled 14-5 for their 4th straight win. Alan Brookniat, TVB News.
University of Hong Kong scientists are coming up with state-of-the-art robots that they say would contribute to mankind. As Stephanie Choi reports, they could also serve as an inspiration for youngsters.
Introducing the Advanced Robotics Initiative. Engineers at the University of Hong Kong have great plans for what's coming out of their research and development work.
Whether that's healthcare, in manufacturing, in surveillance, disaster relief, I think these are all good applications. Sometimes it could be robotic surgery.
This is the Sandia hand, which can grasp and manipulate tools with utmost precision. This Carnegie Robotics head can map out the robot's surroundings to determine its interactions with its environment.
So anywhere that it's difficult for a person to go, if there's danger of explosion, of a fall, of poisonous gases, or if there are hostage situations, fires.
In about a month, the university will welcome Atlas, that is said to have the most advanced artificial intelligence brain in the world. That means it is able to make some of its own independent decisions, and the engineers hope that would inspire the city's youngsters.
I think the young people in Hong Kong need to, let's say, see this high technology so that hopefully they can open up their imagination and then enter into engineering or sciences as fields.
The university's robotics team is among the world's top 9 teams to enter the International Robotics Challenge hosted by the U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency in December. While this places Hong Kong on the world map, the leaders of the initiative remind us not to forget its motive, to serve mankind and to educate. Stephanie Choi, TVB News.
And finally, a giant rainforest plant dubbed the corpse flower because of its terrible smell attracted the masses when it finally started blooming at a botanical garden in Washington, D.C. Experts had been anticipating its bloom for more than a week. Even though the flower packs an incredible stench, garden officials expected it to hit peak smell later this week. Scientists say the flower's strange odor serves to attract insects that are normally drawn to rotting flesh. The last corpse flower to bloom at the U.S. Botanic Garden was in 2007. The Titan arum is native to the rainforests of Sumatra, Indonesia. It was first discovered back in 1878. And that's a wrap of our news. Thanks for watching.
Good night.
Good evening. Locally, it was mainly cloudy with some showers and 1 or 2 thunderstorms. And as tonight's situation chart shows, showers are affecting the coast of Guangdong. Meanwhile, a broad trough of low pressure over the central part of the South China Sea is moving northwards. Today's temperatures ranged from 26.2 to 30.3 degrees, and the relative humidity was between 84 and 97%. Winds are moderate east to southeasterlies. The current temperature is now 26 degrees Celsius, with the relative humidity standing at 94%. 12.3 millimeters of rainfall has been recorded since midnight. So Freddie, how's the weather tomorrow? It will be mainly cloudy with showers and squally thunderstorms tonight. Temperatures will range between 26 and 30 degrees. There will be showers in the next couple of days. Rain will be heavy at times. Tomorrow's API is forecast at 10 to 50, and the pollution level will range from low to medium. And the maximum UV intensity forecast for tomorrow will be about 6. And here's the latest global weather update. Sunny in Shanghai, cloudy in Taipei and Xiamen. Thunderstorms in Guangzhou, showers in Macau and Chengdu. Sunny in Beijing, rain in Seoul and Tokyo. Thunderstorms in Bangkok, rain in Ho Chi Minh City and Manila. Bright in Kuala Lumpur and Singapore, rain in Jakarta. Rain in New Delhi, showers in Karachi, rain in Mumbai. Sunny in Cairo. Sunny in Brisbane, showers in Sydney and Melbourne. Cloudy in Toronto. Sunny in Vancouver, cloudy in San Francisco. Bright in London, showers in Paris, cloudy in Frankfurt, thunderstorms in Zurich. And that's the weather. Have a lovely evening.